everyone. In this video, this is obviously going to be sort of a different video. It's still going to be art related no matter what. So in this video, I'm going to tour this drawing of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and this is going to be sort of interesting because it's going to be different. It's going to be outside of what I normally do every week or almost every week. So I feel like doing something different for once. Showing off this drawing. This is actually my very first Canadian city that I drew. So it's all about making history, I guess. I think it's going to be exciting, and I hope it's exciting to you guys. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to the touring, shall we? Here is the Toronto drawing. I started this drawing back on January 1st of 2016, and I finished it on February 11th of 2018. It took me 2 years to get through with this drawing. Yeah, this is my first Canadian. This is my first drawing of a Canadian city. Good old Toronto. Here's the name. It's the most populous city in Canada, the largest city in Canada. It's also the capital of Ontario, Canada, which is one of the provinces of the country. So here's Ontario. That kind of looks ugly. Here's Toronto. This drawing is sort of beaten. I've been folding it so much. Here's a first place medal because it's literally the largest city in Canada. Here's the flag. We got the good old red maple leaf. Here are some of the freestanding tall structures. The tallest towers on planet Earth. Burj Khalifa, over 2,000 feet tall. Basically all over the world. The Willis Tower. Oh, and here's the CN Tower, which is located in Toronto. And I'm going to get to that. Here's the Willis Tower, it's located in my hometown of Chicago. We got the Rogers Center. It's home of the MLB Toronto Blue Jays, a baseball team. Not the best looking drawing of the stadium. Decided to draw like a noob. We got the CN Tower, which is the tallest tower in the city of Toronto. The Rogers Center is photobombing a little bit. We got some skyscrapers photobombing as well. CN Tower, everyone. We got some hotels all over the city, condos, apartments, so many train tracks. Lake Ontario's right here. It's one of the Great Lakes, one of the 5 Great Lakes. There's an airport actually. The airport's actually located like down here. Also, Toronto Islands. I don't know what the name of this highway is called, but it is a highway. An overpass. Here's Yonge Street, which is believed to be the longest street on planet Earth. So it starts like from here, and it goes all the way up there, which is ridiculous. Yonge Street. Here's the Air Canada Center. It's home of here. We take you up here. There's a little small information about the Air Canada Center. It's called the Scotiabank Arena now. It's home of the NBA Toronto Raptors, NHL Toronto Maple Leafs. Here's an ugly drawing of the arena. Construction didn't really take that long. It took place during the late 90s. Here are 10 facts about Toronto. I'm not going to read all of them because, well, I'm not going to go through everything. I'm going to make sure this tour is not too long or too short. So I'm going to try my best to not go too fast or too slow. But here I'm going to pick out a few facts about the city of Toronto. Toronto Zoo is the largest in Canada. Hyde Park is the largest public park in Toronto. Stephen Amell, Howie Mandel, Will Arnett were born in Toronto. According to many sources out there, we got the streetcar system. It's similar to how what you'll see in the city of San Francisco, California. It has a number of 11 streetcar routes in Toronto. Can be one of the busiest. Here's a little map of the streetcar system. It's not the best looking map. If you're actually curious of what pen I used to draw the city of Toronto, it's this pen. It's called, I don't know if you could see this, it's called Pentel RSVP, and I used this pen to draw the city of Toronto. Buildings up here that I'm not very familiar with. I'm actually familiar with a few buildings. The Toronto City Hall is located in this area. Eura, which is it's located in downtown Yonge, and downtown Yonge is located somewhere up here, as well as Yonge Dundas Square, which it's similar to Times Square in New York City. We got the Scotia Plaza, we got the First Canadian Place. Old Toronto is located in this area, the downtown area of Toronto. We got the L Tower. This took 6 years to complete. The construction first started in 2009, and then it ended in 2015. Shangri-La Hotel. Another look of Rogers Center and CN Tower. I believe this is an aquarium that's right next to these two. And I believe this is an aquarium. We got the ice condoms. Spadina Avenue. I believe this is where you'll experience a streetcar. Chinatown is located here. There's a hospital. It's called Toronto Western Hospital. We got Dundas Street. More buildings. Seems like if you're over here, these buildings are tall as freak. ASF. Then as you make your way to the west side of the city, these buildings are a heck of a lot small. And you'll find a bunch of houses, pretty looking houses in this area. Budweiser stage is located down here. Sadly, I didn't draw it, and I didn't really draw the bottom part of the city. It's not because I was lazy. I didn't want to make the drawing too small or too big. This used to be called Molson Amphitheater. So an amphitheater is located down here, as well as a Coliseum called Ricoh Coliseum. It's now called Coca-Cola Coliseum. BMO Field. It's home of the MLS Toronto FC, a soccer team. It's also located down here somewhere. We got some colleges in the city of Toronto. University of Toronto, York University, yada yada yada. I love college. We got Bloor Viaduct. So basically this is basically a bridge that was built during the 20th century. Here's an awful drawing of the bridge. Bloor Viaduct. I'm not sure if I pronounced this second word right. I'm not good with names, so that's the truth. And here are some of the events that took place in Toronto, like NBA All-Star of 2016, Survivor Series 2016, a wrestling event, more wrestling events here. such as NXT TakeOver Toronto 2016, SummerSlam 2004, Battle of York, Toronto Marathon of 2016, yada yada yada, WrestleMania. Here are some of the well-known streets of Toronto, like Bay Street, Danforth Avenue, Dundas Street, of course, Blue Jays Way, which is right by the Rogers Center, Bloor Street and Yonge Street, which is claimed to be the longest street in the world. I don't know if it really is, but I think it is. I'm joining the Belief group, I guess, Casaloma. So basically, it's kind of like a church. It's a Gothic-style house and gardens in Midtown Toronto. And I believe this is a museum and landmark. It's actually an old building too, an old freaking building too. We got the Toronto Islands, a crappy looking map that I drew, Toronto Islands. Here are some of the films that took place in Toronto. I'm not sure if all of these films took place in Toronto, but I'm pretty sure they actually took place in the city, like Mean Girls, Saw 4, Good Will Hunting, all of these films here. Here are some of the famous YouTubers that were born in Toronto. Vanos Gaming, Furious Pete, Superwoman, Vintage Space, King Botch, FaZe Rain, and Azzyland. I'm not familiar with Vintage Space. It's a YouTube channel that's run by Amy, I believe Amy Shira Title. I'm not sure if I said her name right, but I'm familiar with the rest of these YouTubers. Here are some of the boroughs. Well, they're not really boroughs. I don't know how to say that word. But they're part of Toronto. They're the 6 main parts of Toronto. You got the motto that says, "Diversity, our strength." We got the compass. We got the logo of Toronto. Here are some of the biggest companies in the city. I'm familiar with Rogers Communications, which is the largest, one of the biggest, humongous companies in Canada. I don't actually live in Canada. I live in Illinois. I've never been to Toronto. I've never been to so many big places in this planet. We got some of the biggest architects of Toronto. I'm familiar with this person, Frank Gehry. I don't know if I said his last name right. Again, I'm not good with names, but I'm familiar with this guy. Some of the famous artists of Toronto. I'm familiar with a few artists here, such as Drake, The Weeknd, and Shawn Mendes. These artists were born or have the origin of Toronto, Canada. We got the natives, so these people were born in Toronto. Some might have been born and raised in the city. I'm familiar with Tara Strong. I'm familiar with Renee Young, Winnie Harlow, Devon Bostick, Corey Haim, and Stephen Amell, the actor that plays as the Green Arrow. Actually, I don't really watch the Green Arrow. I don't watch TV that much. I watch a lot of YouTube videos for a living. And this is Toronto, Ontario, Canada, everyone. Another look. Alright everyone, that is going to be the end of this video. I hope this was enjoyable. I hope it wasn't cringy or anything. I hope it didn't really bore so much of you guys. I tried to make sure I covered a good amount of stuff for this drawing and for this tour. Again, I hope this was pretty enjoyable to watch. Stay tuned for more content, and I will catch each and every one of you guys later. So, thanks for watching, and stay safe. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time. Feel free to subscribe to this channel. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I love to connect with you people. So, I will catch each and every one of you guys later.